It is not October, but it is Friday the 13th, a day some consider to be spooky and even supernatural.
I woke up this morning and forgot it was the 13th.
I did too.
But
I was reminded when I got here and
now it's really hitting us. It's real now. Well, we have with us, though, today CU Boulder instructor and folklorist Jack Daly. Welcome, Jack. Thanks for joining us today. I love that this is your area of expertise. A little background, also writing and history, right? There's a lot more to this. But like Friday the 13th, where does this even come from? And I love that you have an academic take on this.
Yeah, well, it's hard to track where folklore actually comes from because it typically circulates in oral narrative. So tracing it back is kind of a difficult task to do. And we see a lot of explanations for where Friday the 13th comes from. It might be the idea that there were 13 people at the Last Supper and Jesus being crucified on a Friday. Or we'll say that the Code of Hammurabi in Mesopotamia skipped the 13th law. They'll say that Loki was the 13th member at this Norse mythology dinner that led to the death of one of their gods. Or Dan Brown in his popular books said that the Knights Templar and their sort of expulsion in the 1300s was where this came from. But it turns out it's very hard to actually trace that historically.
But it sounds like 13 has long held some sort of magic.
The number 13 has had some kind of magic to it, and there's explanations for maybe the number 12 being this sort of perfect and magical number, and 13 is kind of goes away from that and starts going into evil. But we have a fancy term for this, which is called meta-folklore, which is folklore about folklore. And so there's these stories about Friday the 13th itself that are hard to trace. It turns out that the best textual records that we can have for this goes back to the 1830s, in France in particular. And then by the end of the 1800s, we see this being translated into American texts. And so it's likely that that idea was kind of circulating by then. But we try and give this ancientness to it, to give this provenance of how actual it is.
It's spookier that way.
Right, exactly.
What are some of the most well-known and maybe even not so well-known folklore tales that come out of Colorado specifically?
Well, in Colorado, we have some of our kind of, big categories of folklore creatures and monsters like Bigfoot or like ghosts. The BFRO has documented 130 sightings of Bigfoot in Colorado alone. But we also have some kind of hyper-local versions, such as the Slide Rock Bolter, which is this legendary land whale. That is, in my reading of it, it's a commentary about
land whale.
Yeah, and it's said to create these giant gashes on the sides of the mountains. But really, it's a commentary about the mining industry and the lumber industry and the ecological impacts that they've had. We have the Hatchet Lady of Red Rocks is actually a very sort of
nothing. Red Rocks can have no negativity.
Well, I'm surprised that it's not more of kind of a popular tale.
What's her deal?
So the legend there is that she was this woman who, after her husband died, she lost the house and she moved into the caves around Red Rocks, and she kind of went crazy, went around with a hatchet and started slashing at specifically like adolescents or youths who were parked in sort of the make-out point.
Oh, okay. So not concert goers.
Well, it could be concert goers, yeah.
Definitely where people are making out.
It's a local version of what's called the hook urban legend. So we have, here's another fancy term for you, which is ecotypification. And in my book, Erie, Colorado, I look at sort of the ways that larger stories have found a way of expressing themselves in the context of Colorado. And so that's a local version of the hook legend. We also have the vanishing hitchhiker taking its form as the phantom jogger at Riverdale Road. We have, again, a lot of Bigfoot sightings. The vampire grave of Lafayette is one of the most famous locations. I'm throwing a lot of them out there for you. But the idea is that, yes, and it's at Riverdale Road. The idea is that supernatural folklore kind of surrounds us at all times in ways that we might not expect.
Interesting.
And you have to go search it out for yourself a little bit.
And we could talk about this for an hour. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but you had mentioned a book, Erie, Colorado. That's
Erie,
your
Colorado,
book. And
that's my book.
This is really fun to explore a lot of this stuff there as well.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming in and really giving us a good fright today.
I don't know if you got, can you get a shot of his feet? I don't know if you can. Are you wearing ghost socks?
I've got the ghost socks.
Of course.
Okay. Have to represent,
I just had to make reference to that because if you made the effort to wear them in here.
It was a conscious choice.
Yes,
so
no,
it
was
and
it's a perfect choice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was a blast. You were a lot of fun today. Friday the 13th. Thanks for coming in.